Welcome back. All right. Season preview time, and we are going to talk about the Ottawa Senators now as we roll on. This is the second half of the previews getting started. So team number 17 is the Ottawa Senators. Now, they were top 16 in the NHL in terms of they made the playoffs this past season. So that's a benefit of better goaltending and just some young players coming into their own. Some smart moves being made by GM Steve Staios, who is, I think, doing a pretty good job of turning the Ottawa Senators back into a team that should be in the playoffs every year. And it's been a while since we've been able to say that. So starting off with their top six. And Brady Tkachuk, while he had a good year offensively, I think he's capable of a lot more than 55 points. I feel like 70 points is reachable for him, depending on how healthy he is and how everything works out with the All-Star break. And as long as, or the All-Star break, the Olympic break, as long as he doesn't come back from the Olympics too banged up and bruised up, as both Tkachuk brothers did coming out of Four Nations. Stützle, excellent season last year for Stützle. Batherson, Perron, Cousins, and Zetterlund. The interesting one to me, and I've kept the top six basically the same as Puckpedia, but Perron, I wonder if he's going to end up being third line. Maybe Ridley Gregg plays on that second line. And Zetterlund may get top 6 minutes, but I wouldn't count out Giroux getting into that either. Zetterlund, to me, is a wild card in terms of how much ice time he's going to get, while Dylan Cousins in the middle there, number 2 center, honestly, I'm looking forward to what he's able to do this season with Ottawa. In fact, I've got him listed as the one to watch. So it will be interesting to see if that top 6 of Tkachuk, Stützle, Batherson, Perron, Cousins, Zetterlund, if that is the top 6, because that third line looks pretty good. Ridley Gregg, Shane Pinto, and Claude Giroux. If that's your third line, that is an excellent third line, which would put Cousins, the newly signed Lars Eller, and Michael Amadio on the fourth line. That's a fourth line that can hold their own. Eller is older, sure, but he can still play bottom 6, and I think that's a solid addition by the Ottawa Senators to have that experience on the fourth line. Now, their depth is pretty good. You've got McEwen, you've got Kaliev, Lixell, Hodgson, Yannick just signed an extension today. Halliday, Pilon, Bon Giovanni. Isn't that Bon Jovi's like actual last name? Or is it Bon Jovi? I know that John Bon Jovi's last name is not actually Bon Jovi. Anyway, I know he's probably changed it, but anyways, we're getting Bon Giovanni. Let's keep going. Borgo. I just get off on these tangents. When my wife's not home, the tangents just become more frequent. Pedersen, Boucher, and Elina being the other. Or Elinas, sorry. And then on the blue line, you've got Sanderson, who, of course, everybody knows, one of my favorite defensemen. Zub, and he actually is, and that's the funny part. Zub, who honestly is greatly beloved and respected amongst the Ottawa faithful. Shabbat, Jensen had a very good year last year. Clevin and Spence. Interesting third pairing. Jordan Spence coming in from the LA Kings. I still think that was a great move by Ottawa to pick up Spence. So I like the additions of Eller and Spence. Then when you get into the depth side of things, you got Montempalo. Sabrango. So while they've been busy signing guys, I have not seen an extension for Sabrango yet. He's still an RFA. Yakemchuk plans to be part of this team. He wants to fight his way into that top 6. So does that pull Clevin out of there? Probably. He would be the most vulnerable of the top 6 if Yakemchuk gets in there. And then you got Hamera, Gannett, Thompson, Lassie Thompson coming back over. He's got some experience at the NHL level. Donovan and the newly signed Crotty joins the depth on this blue line. So there's some good depth there. And much like with the forward group, there's a couple of players who might be trying to push their way in, who right now are not projected to be in that list of 6 defensemen on their list. Now the goaltending, Ullmark, the starter, and Merrilainen being given the opportunity to be the backup for Ottawa this year after having a very good run for them last season, and we will talk about that. Mads Søgaard, likely the number 3, although they've added Hunter Shepard from Washington. So we'll see if Shepard gets a call up if there's an injury or if they make that call to Søgaard. But either way, I don't think they want the number 3 goaltender getting into any action. They want Ullmark and Merrilainen to be that tandem. We'll see how things go. So the MVP, I wrote down Stützle. And when I write down MVP, I'm projecting who I think the MVP will be this season. And so I think the most valuable player to this team right now is Tim Stützle. One to watch, as I mentioned, Dylan Cousins. I think that Cousins, coming out of Buffalo, I think he could have a very good season this year for Ottawa and help lead them back to the playoffs. Now, the optimism around this team is nice to see. Only 6% said first or second, but that's understandable. It's seen that this is a very tough division to move up in. However, third or fourth, 59% of the vote say third or fourth position for the Ottawa Senators. 29% say fifth or sixth, and 6% say seventh or eighth. This is going to be a mix of people trolling and people who just believe that Ottawa's going to fall apart again. I don't see how that happens with the lineup they've got. Basically, the forward group, the defense, the goaltending. They should, at the very least, stay a playoff team, I would think, for this season. Now, cap space, they do still have some cap space. $4,294,286. The situation with Sebrango will not affect that because there's no way he's going to make more money than can be buried in the American Hockey League, and so when he signs, it won't make any difference to their cap situation at all. So Ottawa is a team to keep an eye on between now and the start of the season. If they decide they need to make a change, there's cap space there to do so. Looking at their schedule, October, 7 out of 12 are at home, so that's a good start for them. November is going to be more of a challenge. 9 out of 13 games are on the road for them there. December, 7 out of 13 are at home. January is a very busy month. 10 out of 16 games are at home. So that's 10 and 6, but still 16 games in a month is a lot. In February, 4 out of 5 games are away from home. March, 9 out of 15 games are away from home. And then April, the schedule maker's nice to them. They get 6 out of 8 games at home in the month of April. And so, it's a very busy schedule at certain points, kind of lopsided at other points as well. We'll see how Ottawa navigates it. Their schedule usually gets a lot of discussion, depending on how their road record is at the time. Now, Coach Travis Green, I think, did a pretty good job in his first year as Ottawa's head coach. I don't see any reason why he won't have a nice long leash when it comes to any kind of slow start they might have, but I don't think they will. I think they'll be fine out of the gate. November's the month to keep an eye on since they have so many road games there. But I think Travis Green, as safe as a coach's job can get right now, I'd put Green in that category. Now, their record since 2021-2022, understandably, they're 23rd in that regard. Record of 154 wins, 148 regulation losses, and 26 losses in extra time or via a shootout. Their top 5 scorers over that period in time: Stützle, 314 games, 103 goals, 194 assists for 297 points. Tkachuk, 314 games, 131 goals, 148 assists for 279 points. Batherson, 292 games, 93 goals, 147 assists for 240 points. Claude Giroux, 245 games played, 71 goals, 122 assists for 193 points. And Chabot, 258 games played, 36 goals, 118 assists, 154 points. In terms of top prospects, most of their young players are already in the lineup. A lot of their prospects are already on these lists in green, and therefore Logan Hensler is the only top prospect that I don't have in either of these spots. Hensler, former, I believe, first-round pick this season, so yeah, we'll see how his future trends from here, but in all likelihood, Ottawa not requiring his services this season. Anyways, their record this past season, 45-30-7, and it led to their first playoff appearance where they lost in the first round against Toronto in 6 games. Not the kind of result that Ottawa was looking for, and certainly I was rooting for Ottawa in that series because 2 reasons. First off, I've always rooted for Ottawa whenever they're fighting against most of the teams in the East, other than Boston, obviously. And second, Ottawa's always had their struggles against Toronto. I thought it would have been fun to see Ottawa overcome that historical issue they've had this year, but they didn't. Toronto won that round. So going out in 6 games against Toronto, there's no embarrassment to that. Now it's a matter of building up and trying to get better from here. So looking at their top 5 scorers this season, Stützle led the way, 82 games, 24 goals, 55 assists, 79 points. I do think Stützle should be in the 30-goal range, but outside of that, his numbers are pretty good. Batherson, 82 games, 26 goals, 42 assists for 68 points. Sanderson, 80 games, 11 goals, 46 assists, 57 points in 80 games. Brady Tkachuk, 72 games played, 29 goals, 26 assists for 55 points. Giroux, 81 games, 15 goals, 35 assists, 50 points. Giroux scoring has slowed down, but it's still pretty good. So I would be surprised if Giroux can't pitch in at least, I'd say, 45 points this year. A little bit of a drop, but still, I think a point every other game. I think he can do that. Then in net, you've got Ullmark, 25, 14, and 3 with a 910 save percentage. Huge difference with Ullmark in net for them. Forsberg, I should say, 11, 12, and 3 with a 901 save percentage. He has moved on. Marilainen, 8, 3, and 1 with a 925 save percentage, and that's why Forsberg has moved on. Sogard, 1 and 1 with an 800 save percentage. Sogard, I was high on the goaltender a couple years ago. That has dulled a little bit over the last little while, as it's become clear Marilainen is going to be the backup for the Ottawa Senators. So looking at their numbers, their power play was 11th in the league at 23.8%. Their penalty kill 19th at 77.7%. Their goals for, they were 19th in that regard at 2.95 goals per game. And their goals against 13th at 2.83 goals against per game. The overall numbers for the Ottawa Senators are quite good. And I think they're sustainable. And not only that, I think there's room for improvement here. Full season from Cousins, more growth from guys like Sanderson on the blue line, and Marilainen getting a chance to be the full-time backup, replacing Forsberg. I think there's the potential here for more improvement from Ottawa, and maybe they move up a little bit more than we're giving them credit for. Maybe Ottawa could be a bit of a wagon this year. We shall see. It would really be fascinating if Ottawa started moving up, and if we saw a drop-off for Toronto this season. That could cause a lot of waves. We'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Are we underrating Ottawa at this point or no? Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. So here's to hoping that Ottawa has another playoff appearance in 2026. We'll see what happens. That being said, I'll talk to you again soon.